I'm dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue. I'm dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue. I'm dripping in orange and blue. Watch yourself, we trip. Keep your shoes tied, ain't tripping.
Oh, yes. Yes, we are, ladies and gentlemen, and we are dripping in orange and blue and a little bit of pewter and red as we get ready for what's going to be an outstanding season in the National Football League. Glad you could join us tonight for a second installment of the Animal Football Insider, coming at you live from the confines of West Des Moines, Iowa. I'm yours truly, the Animal, joining you tonight. My good friend James Brickbuck Wilson. He'll be joining me as my sidekick a little bit later on here in just a couple of minutes. With everything that has been happening, with all the things going on off the field related to COVID-19 and other things that have been happening, it's put a real damper on this off season. But tonight, football is being done leather to toe. They've done kicked it off in Kansas City, where they've hung up the Super Bowl banner, and now we can honestly say the National Football League is back. One person that loves the fact that the football season is back, my good friend James Brickbuck Wilson, is on set with me right now. And James, there he is. And as we join you right now, my God, it's so good to have football back.
I know. This has been, it just feels like this has been the longest off season ever. I mean, when you look at it statistically, it's been the same length as every other one. But for some reason, as you say, with COVID, with a lot of the uncertainty, it took forever. But as you say, you know what? The ball has been kicked in Kansas, and the Gators have taken part in now a couple of scrimmages. The college season looking like it's going to start warming up. How long it lasts for, we're not quite sure. But you know what? We're going to stay positive. The signs are positive looking forward. Football is back, and it's taken so long for us to say that.
I tell you what, man, I've been waiting this moment, and I'll be honest with you. Excuse me. There has been some college football that has been played here and there. Nothing too exciting. They're going to really kick it off this weekend, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we get going. We get going tonight. We can tell you that the Miami Hurricanes are they're playing tonight against University of Alabama Birmingham. Hopeful to have a score for you on that a little bit later on. Now, speaking of Miami and all, we were supposed to also be joined by David Waters of SEC Gators Breakdown. However, some last-minute things came up, which include covering Dan Mullen's press conference, which he's having right now, along with covering the Miami UAB game, prevent him from being on. But hopefully we can get David on for a later date. So, you know, we talked about all the changes that have been happening, with us and everything. Most people having to work from home. Most people not having jobs. Everything related to COVID-19. Well, with COVID-19, it also affected the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well, and how they managed to pull it off is beyond me. But talk about changes within us. There have been a lot of changes at one Buccaneer place, and if I move over this way, you see a number 3 no longer with the club. He's moved to a different team, which ironically he's with the Saints. But the Buccaneers went out and got a guy, James. I don't know, some guy. He's won 5-6 Super Bowls, something like that. Hasn't done anything much. Some guy named Mike Brady or something like that. I don't know.
No. Is it Tom Michaels? It's this guy from California.
I don't know. I keep wait. Something about the Patriots. Tom Brady. Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah, something about animals as well, like yourself. There's something coming to. Oh yes, goat.
Yeah, the goat. No, we're not talking about me being the goat, but with Tom Brady. Anytime you win 6 Super Bowl rings,
Mhm.
let's go back and
You are
let us
one of the
start.
fan goats, though.
Uh,
You are one of the fan goats, though.
But see, here's the thing. I'm not like Big Nasty. I have not been invited to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Which, by the way, our congratulations go out to
Yeah.
Big Nasty. So he's in Canton having some things done. And oh, by the way, folks, before I forget, we're being broadcast through Facebook Live, also through Twitter, and also through Periscope. And if you have questions or comments, be sure to broadcast those, and we'll get those to those as the broadcast goes along. But yeah, when I first heard the news, the first thing I heard, okay, they're not going to sign Jameis Winston. That he's going to move on. Okay, I was kind of bummed out about that because I feel like maybe, they should have given Jameis a little bit more time. Here and there, that's done. Then I heard the news about Brady coming on board, and I thought there's no way the Glaciers are going to pull it off. But James, how they did it, I have no idea.
Well, and this is the thing that really, really rocked me. If you'd have asked me 2 weeks before Brady signed if Winston was going to be back, my answer would have been what it had been all off season, which is the Bucs are putting an offer on the table to Jameis Winston. That's the most recent news that we'd heard. And in fact, the Jameis Winston camp, their most recent information was that he was being re-signed, that the offer was being put on the table, that they were establishing them. This is what was heard by the Winston camp. I'm sure a lot of people watching will be familiar with the Twitter chatter, as it were, going backward and forward.
Yeah.
But the original understanding from everybody was that Jameis Winston was coming back. He'd had his knee surgery. He'd had his LASIK surgery. And you know what? Fans were sort of getting hopeful, saying, you know what? A healed Jameis Winston, a Jameis Winston that can see properly, is going to be a good Jameis Winston. So when everything broke that Winston wasn't coming back, that Tom Brady had been signed, I said to people who were like, oh, well, Tom Brady is a possible. Instantly, my response was, he isn't a possible. He's testing his market value so that he can go back to the Patriots and say, this is what I'm being offered up here. I'll come back and win another Super Bowl with you guys if you meet me down here. But as a lot has been sort of published in sort of news around social media, various media outlets have mentioned that Tom Brady he wasn't happy in New England anymore. He didn't feel like he was being appreciated.
No.
He felt that it was a lot of, well, he's only good because of like Belichick's system, and he wouldn't be able to win without Bill. And I think, you know what, from what I know about, there we go, we're back. So from what I know about, what I've read about Tom Brady, from people who have met the guy, is he's a competitive guy. He's not going to accept that. So when someone turns around and says, oh, you've only done this because of a coach, he's going to come out, he's going to prove that he has the ability to win with any team. So not only have the Bucs taken on one of the greatest players to ever play the quarterback position, but they've also taken on a guy who's now playing with a chip on his shoulder to prove everybody wrong.
And I think that is so true. To say, look, I don't need Bill Belichick to win me a Super Bowl championship. I can do it with a guy like Bruce Arians. But what's interesting is it's not just about Bruce Arians. I mean, there are other guys that surround him. Mike Evans. We're going to talk about him in just a couple of minutes. Mike Evans, a very talented offensive line, headlined by the rookie Tristan Wirfs, who we'll talk about that in a minute as well. Just a core of great offensive players. Why would you not want to come there? Why would you not want to make? Why would you? You have the players. You can do this with what you have.
Yeah, and you know what? I know a lot of people are probably going to give me stick and say, "Oh, well, you've really changed your opinion." Changing your opinion is a good thing. It shows growth as a person. It shows the
Well,
evolution of the
exactly.
soul.
Exactly.
And I've completely changed my tune about Brady because I've gone back. I will admit my previous bias was a Homer bias. I didn't like Brady because he won everything, and he was easy to dislike for that reason.
Sure.
You go back, you watch the tape, you analyze the stats, you look inside and outside the numbers, and when people turn around and say, "Oh yes, Tom Brady has certainly declined over the past couple of years," he's not really had an offense in the last 3 or 4 seasons. There
No.
really aren't very many notable players that have played in the offense for New England. The fact that New England have been so good on offense is because one, Tom Brady can find an open receiver, and two, the scheme that the Patriots run on offense means that anyone can stand out. I mean, Chris Hogan, anyone. So
Yeah.
look at all those things combined. You go back to that offense that the Patriots had, featuring Randy Moss, and you know what? Mike Evans is going to be Tom Brady's Randy Moss this time around. Anyone in the position being offered the weapons that Tom Brady's going to be given, I think the only quarterback that isn't interested in that is someone like Patrick Mahomes, who's just
Mhm.
won a Super Bowl. You
Yeah.
offer 30 other quarterbacks the starting position in Tampa Bay, and it's a very attractive place to come to.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and I think that I think Brady saw that this is my opportunity to prove myself, especially with the guys that I have around me, and here's the thing now, Brady has taken on the leadership role. I remember early on in the off season that um, we saw with helicopter flyovers of Brady working with the receivers, working with the offense, and everything that I'm hearing coming out of camp, the training camp, was that everybody loved Tom Brady. Everybody loved Rob Gronkowski, who, by the way, talked about another addition to this team. So
Mm-hmm.
even that, and everybody's saying, "Look, we're working together." Well, Brady really is a cool teammate, and it tells me that very, very quickly this is becoming Tom Brady's team.
Absolutely, and I think even before camp started, like as you say, with the workouts that Tom was doing with the offense, he was coming into his own. He was able to lead the team. He was able to work on some things, get to know the guys, and every single person that has ever spoken to Tom Brady on this roster who has spoken publicly about him has said exactly the same thing. And that is Tom Brady is a great guy. He is a natural leader, and he has so much experience. You listen to Byron Leftwich talking, and the
Yeah,
amount of trust that he has from the coaches because he knows what he's doing. He's been playing this game since the players that were drafted this year were in diapers. They probably didn't even know what the game of football was.
exactly.
Uh,
Is that? Yeah, I
so
mean, it's exactly. I mean, Brian Leftwich saying it best. We trust him.
mhm.
Why? I mean, why wouldn't you? James Brickbutt Wilson joining me on this edition of the Animals Football Insider. Another score with the Kansas game. Miami is tied with the UAB early on. And by the way, I apologize. I know I'm doing some things here with your stream. I'm trying to figure out how to run things. So I apologize for that.
That's hey, that's absolutely fine. And do you know what? I completely understand it because I'm honored to be your very, very first guest. So
Yes, he is, ladies and gentlemen. He is my very first guest, so I'm very pleased and honored to have you today. So let's talk about the other weapons, and of course we have to start up front. And Bruce Arians and Jason Light. It was funny today. I'm going over rehearsing for the show how I'm going to do things and everything, and I was talking about the Buccaneers, and for a minute I kept thinking the general manager was Bruce Allen. I'm like, I had to keep my, hit myself the forehead. We're talking about
you need to
Jason Light.
wind that time much further.
Oh my God, tell me about it. But for them to do what they did to trade during the draft, keep trading down and down, and get who probably was the fourth rated best player in the NFL draft to get him at number 12 or 13. I mean, that says a lot about what this organization is doing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember actually doing a show. It was a live draft show. We were on all night. So any guys who caught that, thanks for watching, by the way. That was a really fun show to do. And as we were sort of going through the draft, as the picks were coming in, we were talking about each pick, and I noticed that as each lineman was coming off the board, I was like, well, Tristan Wirfs is still there. And for me, and quite a lot of other people as well, Tristan Wirfs was the highest rated, and obviously yourself as well there. See, great minds think alike. But to me, Tristan Wirfs was the highest rated offensive tackle on the board. Now, I can't understand how he dropped. In fact, the two of the tackles that were taken ahead of him, I actually think were reaches. The names are escaping me right now.
Me too. I know, but I mean, to see all that, the one thing the only thing that I can think of, James, was that somebody was pushing out some bad information about Tristan, which had him to drop. That's the only thing I can think of, because I mean, Tristan was supposed to go number 4.
Yeah, I mean, Tristan was at the top of a lot of draft boards and then started to slide. You know, the draft is crazy. We said it in shows leading up to the draft. I've written it in articles, I believe, every year that I've been writing about football. And the one thing that is consistent with the NFL draft is the fact that it is deeply, deeply inconsistent. You see players dropping for absolutely no reason. You see players have one bad piece of information about them, and they plummet down the draft board. And then you see other players who have maybe been workout warriors, who've got a great agent or a great team behind them, and they see their stock rising.
And if you recall, there was another player that the Bucs got because of something like this. Some guy by the name of Warren Sapp. If you remember how that situation developed. You know, I was going over the Buccaneer depth chart, and as I was looking at it, I was, no real surprises. I guess Sean Murphy-Bunting on defense getting the call over Jamel Dean at one of the cornerback spots.
You know what? Sean Murphy-Bunting and Jamal Dean are going to be the lockdown corners of this defense for years to come. I'm not especially worried about them. Now, one of the things that I've been really, really lucky to do this offseason is work alongside the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which has included, obviously, their media mail-outs and their B-roll film. And watching that B-roll film, when you see the players out there competing, one part of you understands that the defense knows the plays that are coming at them, but you can't escape the reality that is Tom Brady that they're going up against. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
Yeah,
these are some of the best players in the NFL, and the defense is going up there and it's holding its own. Jamal Dean, maybe they need to still shuffle him around because, through camp he's spent 1 second looking like the next Darrelle Revis, like an absolute ball hawk that he is going to leave receivers frozen on an island, and then the next second he looks like Vernon Hargreaves Mark II, and he's got to work on that consistency.
Speaking of not going in the past, let's not mention about Vernon Hargreaves. I mean, I thought Vernon played pretty well, but I mean, he could have been a little bit better. As I'm looking at the running back class here. Yeah, Ronald Jones, Keyshawn Vaughn, the Bucs picking up LaShawn McCoy, and then another guy by the name of Leonard Fournette. These are four good, strong running backs. I'm excited about the running game as anything.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you can't say now is that you haven't got a talented running back in that backfield. Oh. You've got 4 guys back there who play in the NFL for a reason. Ronald Jones actually has the most to prove, which is crazy. But a lot of players have had a lot of positive things to say about Ronald Jones in camp. The coaches have been very impressed with the majority of his work. He's shown real improvement. He's showing real agility and speed through the line, through the holes. He could well be the running back that the Bucs originally drafted, but he's taken a long time to get used to the pro game. You know what? It could just be that he took a long time to season and develop, but because of that, he hasn't got a lot of miles on the track. He's entering his physical prime now. This could be the perfect storm of Ronald Jones being the breakout player of the league.
Well, not only that, having a guy like Leonard Fournette, LaShawn McCoy, he's been in the league for a long time. To be like a brother or a what am I looking for? Mentor to a guy like Ronald Jones. It does nothing but help them out. I mean, let's face it, Bruce Arians didn't bring them on this team just so they can run the ball. There are other things that these guys can do.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I was going to say, with Leonard Fournette as well, you have something very, very interesting because you do have the ability to switch it up because Ronald Jones is not going to get you the dirty yards. He's not going to play 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He isn't going to do that. That's not his game. Leonard Fournette will do that. He will probably push that to 4 yards and then a cloud of dust as he emerges from a pile of defenders. These are the options that the Bucs now have in the running game. So you can't argue that they haven't got the options back there. The offense is going to have to be balanced because you're going to have to spread the ball around. This is capable of being a nasty, nasty offense.
As we close it out, because I know you got to get going. And by the way, my congratulations to you. You're getting married here in a few weeks. I don't know what you have planned for the honeymoon, but let me make a great suggestion. Colorado Springs. It's beautiful, dude. I'm telling you, it's just awesome. A couple more things real quick around the league-wise. As we get ready for the season, any quick surprises or any storylines? Any interesting storylines that we should be watching?
I've caught heat for this already, but I'm going to stick by it because I think I'm right. The Kansas City Chiefs are not going to be the team they were last season. I think they will have a Super Bowl hangover. I think they make the playoffs just because they're in such a weak division, but they're not a Super Bowl team.
No, I kind of agree with that. I mean, we just saw where one player went down. By the way, there's still nothing in the first quarter. We're going to let you go here in just a second. Sunday's game, James Winston's going to come back to Ray J. There are not going to be any fans in the stands, by the way, for that game. Will we see James play at all?
Obviously, the first week is in New Orleans.
Is it? I thought it was home.
No, it's in New. It was that game was touch and go. Actually, New Orleans Saints have literally been approved today for a business exemption to allow the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New Orleans Saints to play a football match on Sunday.
Are you serious?
It was touch and go.
I did not know anything about this. I thought I'm under the assumption that the game is all set, ready to go. I mean,
well, apparently not. Apparently, someone just noticed that football is not included in permissible activities in the state of Louisiana at this time.
Oh my God! Well, you tend to wonder then what's going to happen with LSU fighting Tigers and all that. What's going to, wow! Talk about some inside. That's why we call ourselves the Animal Football Insider. Someone breaking the news like we have with James Brickbutt Wilson. Hey, listen, I know you got to go. Plug your show.
Yeah, so guys, obviously watching The Animal here, a true legend. You can find me if you found me interesting and you are perplexed by a British accent talking about football. You can find me over at Set the Sales. We're all live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, via Periscope every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's 8 p.m. Central. So you can catch us Monday evening, get your dose of
It's
Buccaneers
great.
football.
It is a great show. By the way, have you ever heard of a guy named Paul Stewart?
I'm good friends with Paul, actually.
Are you really? Yeah, Paul.
Yeah.
I tell you, let me tell you a real quick story about Paul. How back in the '80s, we used to have a booster club called the Clearwater Bucks Bunch. Great group of Buck fans, you know. And one of our guys had first heard about Paul through a couple of newspaper stories. So we invited Paul to come over. He got to meet with the Buccaneers and several players and all, and that's how that friendship formed. So you got to, next time you see Paul, you got to tell him that you were on the Animals show. So
yeah, well, you know, as British Bucs fans, we've got to stick together, haven't we?
There you go. Hey, listen, when you have more time, I know you're busy right now with the wedding and everything. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you got to get out of here. We'll catch you later.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And Animal, thank you very much. I hope to see you soon.
And you're invited anytime. You have an open invitation, buddy. James,
go Gators, go Bucs.
There you go, man. Thank you very much. James Buck Williams, Wilson, I should say, taking the time out to join me here today on this edition of the Animal Football Insider. A couple of things to update you on. Miami and UAB, they're tied at 7-7 early in the second quarter. That game is over on the ACC network. And, of course, KC and Houston, they're knotted at 0-0. They're in the first quarter. We'll be following that as the game progresses. So I thought the game was going to be at home against New Orleans, but I guess it's away in New Orleans, and they had some breaking news that the game is going to be played. Texans just scored a few minutes ago. They lead up 7-0 over Kansas City. Now let's get into some conversation with the Florida Gators. They're starting they finished up their training camp and now beginning preparations to take on Ole Miss in game number 1 when they play on September 26th. They've already had a couple of scrimmages, and from everything we've been told, they're looking okay. You know, Dan Mullins met with the media a few days ago. Said the contrast looked pretty good in the scrimmage. Could have done a few things better, get his timing down a little bit more. But all in all, they felt like that he is doing some good things. So Trash is looking good. The defense is looking fantastic. You get the feeling that this team is really excited for what's upcoming in the 2020 season, although they've also been hit by COVID as well. But, hopefully, they'll get through it. I will say the Gators had one player that tested positive for COVID. We don't know who that is, but apparently the player is going to be quarantined for the next couple of weeks. Now, let's talk about the games that. Let's see here. And let's talk about what's going on with the National Football League this weekend in week number 1. Now for the Buccaneers, they were playing New Orleans. That is a 3:30 kickoff time that will be seen on Fox. Check your local listings for the days and times in your area. As we talk about the schedule for week 1, Seattle will be Atlanta, New Orleans at Buffalo, Chicago at Detroit, Green Bay at Minnesota, Miami at New England, Cam Newton against Tua Tagovailoa. I can't say his name. Las Vegas against Carolina, and of course the other schedules highlighted by Tampa versus New Orleans. That'll be a 3:25 Eastern game. for us will be 2:25. Arizona is San Francisco. Dallas will be LA for the Sunday night contest. Giants in Pittsburgh and Tennessee and Denver wrap up week 1 in the National Football League. As we said for the Gators, they had a COVID player test positive for COVID. But like I said, we don't know how serious it is, and of course, we'll keep you updated on what's going on there. As far as games that's going to be happening in this weekend in college football, Iowa State will be playing at home against Louisiana. West Virginia will be home at Eastern Kentucky. Army against Louisiana Monroe. Notre Dame will play home against Duke. Florida State will play against Georgia Tech. Now, one thing about the Gators in this season is that some other teams had to back away and not play the Gators this year. So now the Gators are playing 10 straight SEC opponents. Unfortunately, though, they're not going to be able to play against the Florida State Seminoles, but hopefully something can be worked out. Pittsburgh will be playing against Austin Peay. South Florida Bulls, go Bulls, will be at home against the Citadel. Let's see, Texas against UTEP. Pretty much that's all the games that's going to be on this weekend. And there were some other games, but they got postponed as well. So that's what's going on with the National Football League. Back to what's going on with the Florida Gators. Had a chance to talk to a Florida Gator fan, who I won't name, but he gave me some interesting analysis here. Yeah, I'm going to find him here in just a minute. Talked about how the offensive line is going to be making some key improvements this year. In fact, Dan Mullen, he was ecstatic when talking about the offensive lineman at the University of Florida. Now, why were they excited about linemen at the University of Florida? Three years ago, I believe it was, the Gators had, under Jim McElwain, was playing with just 6 offensive linemen throughout the course of the year. And I don't know how they were able to get through that year with only 6 linemen, but they were able to. But now Dan Mullen has a healthy core of offensive linemen who he thinks can come in and play a big role in 2020. Trask is making big strides. Believes that he's making some great decisions, although Dan Mullen in a press conference yesterday was commenting how those decision-making skills need to be improved just a little bit. So, even with that and the defense playing well, it looks like that the Gators are really going to be a team definitely to be talked about during the course of the 2020 season. Let's see. As I go, I'm going through Twitter, seeing if anything big news is happening, because we always say we miss out on the big news here. Let's see. Don't see anything new that is going on. So more or less, the Gators will be, as I said, taking on Ole Miss in the first game. That'd be on the 26th, and that should be a very interesting contest. And we'll keep you updated as we get closer and closer to the games in college football. Updated scores that we have right now is still 7-7, Miami UAB, and Houston still 7-0 over the Kansas City Chiefs. And I love James, and I love what he's saying, and I think to some degree, I don't think the Chiefs are going to repeat as Super Bowl champions, but I think they're going to go a long way. And I also think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go a long way too. Part of that reason is going to be because of Tom Brady. Not because of his athletic skills, but what he brings to the team off the field. I mean, we talk about Leonard Fournette and what he brings as a running back. Think about what Brady will bring to the other quarterbacks. Okay. And they even signed one of the things that James and I didn't have time to talk about. Josh Rosen, who was a former number one draft pick a few years ago out of UCLA, now is on board with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You kind of get the feeling with Brady coming on board that Rosen might be the heir apparent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why not? It would make perfect sense. It would give Rosen an opportunity to learn under the best, like Tom Brady. So why not? I really do believe that Josh Rosen is going to be an up and coming player. Now, as far as the game this weekend, Mike Evans had a hamstring injury, did not practice on Wednesday and Thursday. It looks like he's going to be out for the game. Ryan Smith's quarterback has an ankle injury, but he played today. Jason Pierre-Paul has an injury. They're not saying what that is, but he did not practice the first 2 days, so he might not be able to play as well. Saints overall look pretty healthy, and looks like that they'll be ready to go in their game. One interesting note is that with the Buccaneers playing the Saints, it will mark a reunion. Jameis Winston playing against his old team if Jameis does indeed play. Travis Kelce just caught a touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes. They're going to tie the game up at 7-all here just a minute, capping off 11 plays, 75-yard drive. That just happened just a few minutes ago. I want to check something out here because as I always like to do, during my broadcast, I like to scroll and see what's going on. Let's see here. Let's see here. And former Gator Tommy Townsend, he's playing in this game tonight. And Demarcus Robinson, hang on. Demarcus Robinson, former Florida Gator, caught a touchdown pass. And Tommy Townsend, he played in the game as well. Also a former Florida Gators. Zach Alberverdi says about the offensive line clicking in camp. They're more experienced as a team, 100 total starts as a unit. So, I mean, they're pretty excited about the group of offensive linemen as they head into the 2000 season. By the way, for the Gators game, they're only going to be able to play or have about 17,000 fans in the game. So that'll be interesting to watch. At least they're going to have some fans, whereby for Tampa, they're not going to be able to have fans in the first two games. Let's see if anybody's been checking in, answering questions. You can answer in the chat. Just Shirley the Animal coming at you from the confines here of West Des Moines, Iowa. And really, it's been kind of a quiet night, although the NFL is going on. Miami just scored off of a De'Aaron King 12-yard run. They're leading Miami's leading the game 14-7. And his name is De'Aaron King. So he's a transfer, and apparently he's a monster. So and you can watch that game over on the ACC network. Now, of course, other games are going to be happening this weekend. Iowa State's going to be playing. I do understand. Let's see. Is Iowa playing too? I thought I saw Iowa playing. Hang on just a minute. I could have sworn I saw Iowa playing them there. Although I know that the Big Ten has said they're not going to play. But I thought I saw something about Iowa playing. So that's and so and by the way, what we're seeing that the Big Ten may have their season a little bit later on, down the road. So, Vince, checking in. What's up, my friend? Please, I should bring Vince on. Vince is a good guy. We can talk some. We can talk some Iowa football if he wants to. Actually, anybody that wants to join the show, send me a link and I'll bring you on and we'll talk whatever is on your mind. So basically, that really is it right now. So, again, my thanks to James Buck Wilson for joining me here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it. We're going to be back at you next week. Another edition of Insider. We're going to have a lot more conversation talking about the Buccaneers and hopefully a win over the New Orleans Saints. And here's one other thing that I forgot to tell you about. Okay, and that is the fact that with the game this Sunday, I think it's going to mark for only the first time ever that all four pro leagues in the Tampa Bay area are going to be playing. You're going to have Tampa Bay Rays playing the baseball game, I believe, against the Red Sox. Red Sox are leading 4-3. You're going to be having the Lightning playing in hockey. They play tomorrow night. You're going to have the Bucs playing as well. So I'm sorry, I meant I thought it was 4, but it's 3. Periscope isn't working well. I'm shocked and appalled by that. So anyhow, forgot I was on. I am shocked and appalled by that, my friend. But still, we love you. I'll forgive you. Only anybody knows I'm here, You're the only one watching me, So, but I'm still gonna persevere and get through all this. So, as far as that goes, let's see here. So, there's a story that came out that we should talk about. And that is Dak Prescott has publicly revealed that he's been struggling with depression and mental health. Okay. So Dak Prescott came out with okay, thanks for that, Vince. Saying on Periscope it stops and starts. Yeah, no, Vince, what it is that I am going through a different web stream tonight. Not web stream, but different web browser, Firefox, and apparently it's causing me some issues. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to my Chrome, Google Chrome next week. Dak Prescott was it revealed today that he's been struggling with depression and mental illness. Well, apparently, Skip Bayless of Fox Sports, Undisputed, with Sterling Sharp, made some harsh comments about Dak Prescott. Fox Sports released a statement saying in part, at Fox, we are proud of Dak Prescott for publicly revealing his struggle with depression and mental health. No matter the cause of the struggle, Fox Sports believe Dak showed tremendous courage, which is evident in both his leadership on the Cowboys and his character off the field. We do not, with Skip Bayless' opinion Undisputed this morning, we addressed the significance of this matter with Skip and how insensitive his comments were received by people internally at Fox Sports and our audience. So apparently, Skip Bayless has made some controversial comments about Dak Prescott's revelation of his issues that he has, and anytime somebody has those issues, it's not something to laugh about or say whatever Skip Bayless may have said. I would have to listen to the comments to get a more clear understanding of what's happened. Pro Football Talk has more about this. Okay, so the story goes that Dak Prescott's older brother died in April, and Prescott sank into anxiety and depression for the longest time. And and he openly revealed it today. So that's what was going on with that situation, and I guess Skip Bayless made some ridiculous comments about it, and apparently it's gotten him into some hot water. So we'll be staying on top of this story as well. Now, before the game, the NFL, besides playing the national anthem, played another song as well. The Chiefs stayed out there for both songs. The Texans did not come out until the national anthem had concluded. So we're going to be seeing more of this as the season goes on, and hopefully we don't get any COVID-19 positive testing as these games happen. So let's really keep our fingers crossed and hope that everybody stays safe in the process. I'm trying to run through and check out the latest news that's going on, not just within the NFL, but also to see what else is going on. Oh, this is interesting. LSU has decided to allow fans at Tiger Stadium for their games. If you're just joining us, if you're just joining me, we had James Wilson on a little while ago from Set the Sales podcast, and the New Orleans Saints didn't know if they were going to have a game until today. They didn't know whether or not that the state of New Orleans was going to allow them to play. When LSU has come out and said that they're going to allow fans at their games. So to what extent, I have no idea. So hopefully, like I said, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. 7-7 is still the score with Houston and Kansas City. I'm going to go ahead and break it out right now. Nobody's answering questions online. I'm just blabbing, talking with myself. We're going to catch you all next week. Hopefully we'll talk about a Florida Gator win. And hopefully we'll have a lot more conversation during the course of next week. I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. Hang on just a minute here. Next week we'll be on at 7:30 Eastern Time. 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central. Although I'm thinking about going in early with an earlier time. But we'll see what happens here. So thank you all for joining me. Y'all have a great night. And go Bucs.
Dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue. I'm dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue, dripping in orange and blue. I'm dripping in orange and blue. Watch yourself, we trip. Keep your shoes tied, I ain't tripping. Heard it 4 for 1, let's get it. No pun, we don't really like to kick it.